If you saw the film Ring of Bright Water or read about the exploits of a lovable creature called Tarka, it might sadden you to learn that the animal which starred in both, the English otter, is facing extinction. They could once be found living along the banks of quiet stretches of water all over the country, but now, with the exceptions of Scotland and the southwest, they've mostly disappeared. And the principal villains in all this are you and me and the disturbance we cause. No wonder, then, that an attempt to reverse that decline is taking place in secrecy. John Kiddie reports.
A rippling brook on a glorious summer's day. I mustn't tell you exactly where I am. All I can say is that I'm somewhere in East Anglia. The location is one of the most closely guarded secrets of the animal conservation world. And it's here that a very special experiment's about to take place, which in its own way will make a bit of history. Close by the water and hidden away where even the most determined rambler might never find it, a pen has been staked out amid the undergrowth. For the past month, it's been home to 3 creatures which, despite their popular appeal, face the very real prospect of extinction. The English otter, immortalized in books and films, and here in this wire compound, getting ready for a fight to survive. Philip Ware, the naturalist, has devoted his life to saving the otter.
From our point of view, it's rather like sending your children out into the world and wondering what's going to happen to them, because we've no idea, really, whether it's going to work or not. We think it will. Every reason to believe it will, but we can't be certain.
These otters have been specially bred for release into the wild. It's a calculated risk, but one which has taken a decade of careful planning.
For us, it's the culmination of 10 years' hard slog in trying to breed enough otters and to build up a large enough nucleus of breeding otters in order to have young ones to spare for release every year into the wild. I mean, this is not just a one-off. It's the first time. It's a pilot scheme, but it's terribly exciting.
You are obviously very close to otters. You like them. Why are they so attractive, do you think?
They're very intelligent, for a start. They're very beautiful, very graceful, particularly if you see them underwater. I think that most people like them because of this endearing habit they have of sitting up on their hind legs and looking at you straight in the face. You know, and of course, Britain has very few large-ish mammals, so I think it would be a great pity if the otter disappeared, because we haven't many.
Even as they return to the wild, the otters won't lose touch. The strange-looking harness contains a radio transmitter, enabling experts to track its movements. After a few weeks, the specially designed straps will fall off, leaving the otter completely free. But during the first vital period of going wild, the radio signals will give reassurance that all is well. And it works wherever the otter may be. Listening in to the signals will be scientists from the Nature Conservancy Council, which is cooperating in the experiment. From a discreet distance, they'll be tuned in to that tiny transmitter, listening to slight variations in the sound and interpreting them. It's much more than simply knowing the otter is still alive.
We also want information on the way the animal uses environment, the length of river it uses, whether it stays on the spot we put it in, how it reacts to people, how it reacts to dogs, and general disturbance, and which parts of the environment it uses most, which parts are most important to it.
How much do we in fact know about otters?
Not as much as we'd like to, obviously, and I think this will help us a bit more, get us a bit more information on the animal in a low-density, high-disturbance area.
It's man who's disturbed the otter, polluting the rivers and killing the fish and plant life which it needs to stay alive. Crowding the waterways in his own attempt to find peace and quiet, and generally taking over a habitat which once belonged to an animal whose only enemy is man. Suitable rivers in which to release the otters are nowadays hard to find.
It takes quite a long time to find a river which is clean, not polluted too much, where there's plenty of fish food in there. You also need an area where there's lots of bankside cover, little wood alongside the river. We need to have the landowners all on our side to experiment is all about and to be keen on its success. We need an area with no mink or very few mink, and we need an area which has no otters on it at the moment, but otters not too far away so that the units can link up one day.
But if the rivers are no longer a safe haven for the otter, here at Bungay in Suffolk, Philip Ware has built them a unique refuge on land. The Otter Trust, founded in 1972 with the aim of reversing the rapidly dwindling numbers. Otters from all over the world live here. They share the ground with a variety of wildlife which has been welcomed into the sanctuary. Each year, 45,000 people come to enjoy the antics of a creature which they've almost no chance of even glimpsing in the wild.
Bearing in mind that it is a rather an esoteric exercise with nothing to see but otters and a few waterfowl and night herons and things, I think it's been very successful because I think people are becoming more and more sophisticated, more and more appreciative of what remains of our wildlife.
Most of these otters, though, couldn't survive outside. They've become tame and wouldn't know how to catch their own food. To produce a wild otter, the cub needs to be reared out of sight of humans. Well away from the crowds, a pre-release pen where otters live virtually without human contact. Here they become naturally nocturnal and gradually come to catch their own fish.
Hunting is an innate behavior, it's automatic. They don't have to be taught to catch live food. And indeed, in their pre-release enclosures, there has been a certain amount of natural food which they've taken. I mean, they catch birds, you know, which come in to pinch some of their food.
It's all preparation for the day when they're put in the last cage before freedom by the river. And in that last cage, the otters on which so many hopes are riding. Everything which could have been done has been done. There's no doubt they face a struggle to survive, but Philip Ware is optimistic. Looking ahead, say, 3 or 4 months, how well do you expect they'll be getting on here?
Oh, I think they'll get on perfectly well. They're, 18 months old, so they're just short of breeding age, which is about 2 years. And so we hope that this time next year, one of these females will have a nice little litter of cubs swimming about somewhere on this river.
A rare event, the birth of a new generation. It's thought there may be only 150 British otters left in the wild. Pollution didn't just kill the otters' food, it may have caused many survivors to become infertile. Now at last, man is trying to undo the harm. And if this experiment works, Philip Ware will have finally succeeded in giving otters the chance to live free and wild again.
The fight to save the charming otter.